Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I've got a tournament game for you guys against Shadeoff, and it's a special one. We are going to make some very high level, very tanky units in this game, and it's not something that's happened very often at my MMR. So yeah, it's an exciting one. We go for the training specialist here with the hounds and sledgehammers. Mostly picking for sledgehammers because there was a wall plus an anti-armor cannon, which made me want to defend because it's quite hard to push into this. So usually people will push into the emptier side of the board, which is also why you will see me stack over there. I could defend in the middle here as well, but it would make me a bit weaker if the opponent pushes over here, and that's what I was expecting. Now, as you can immediately see, that's not what Shadeoff does. He takes a bit of a gamble here and decides to push into the wall and the building behind. This can be very risky. If I defend symmetrically here, already I am very favored. This is only really viable, I think, if your opponent completely abandons the way that I did. So, you know, I do abandon, which means that he should be in a fine spot here, but it is quite risky. You have to be pretty certain that your opponent is willing to stack the opposite side. I go for double crawler, he goes for double void eye. Note that he is playing my favorite specialist, elite spec, with spiders, and goes for double void eye. Now, I really thought he would go for double marksman here, because marksman one-shot level 1 sledgehammers when they're level 2, and I was considering going for a phoenix here on round 1, because, well, phoenix is quite decent, and I honestly still need some DPS, right? I don't end up going for it because I expected marksman, but then he didn't go marksman. Went for the void eyes instead, which are better probably. They've got better ground presence, so he will still win. But yeah, I thought he would maybe try and play around the potential phoenix from my training specialist. Instead, I level up a hound, which allows us to one-shot crawlers. We lose the right side tower because even though I have a wall and a building there, there's nothing else to support them. But I still do have my small building over there, which is going to do a good job of clearing the crawlers and preventing a second debuff from happening. In the meantime, we get our own debuff. Now, my DPS is not amazing. It's almost non-existent, basically, because I'm just playing sledgehammers and hounds. But we managed to clear up a good amount, and I'm happy about that because, well, at least we don't take, you know, 600 damage. Now, I need to start defending the right side. We immediately get unit reinforcements here. Rhino, I could try and push into the left side tower to get a quicker debuff, but I felt like I needed something to kind of start building, mounting a defense on that right side of the battlefield. So I go for a Fire Badger, and I've been playing more Fire Badgers ever since they got buffed, changed, right? Their projectile speed got improved. And I've been really liking them, especially paired with Overlord, because I feel like Overlord kind of makes up for all of Badger's weaknesses, right? If your opponent ends up going for an armored unit, then typically Overlord will be just fine killing it. Now, I can't get an Overlord immediately here, so instead I'm going to go Badger, Crawler, and I buy a Phoenix because, well, currently my opponent didn't have a lot of anti-air. He does pick up that Mustang to cover the flank, and he picks up a marksman as well from the looks of things, so he should be fine, but still, I needed some DPS, and I think that at level 1, Phoenixes are just kind of the best DPS that you can get, whilst threatening an air scam. Rest of the round is not particularly important. I mean, that's basically the round done with. Looks like Shadeoff, though, does think about perhaps not picking up a marksman there. I tried to go for a missile, but it gets blocked. I was hoping to hit this Void Eye, because I feel like I need to get some tempo here, right? I'm defending the right side with fewer units, so if I can get rid of some and cripple another with the help of a missile, I'm pretty happy with that. It should improve my odds. We are pushing into the left side, but that tower already got upgraded, and it's kind of why you do this type of gamble, right? Because he's stranding sledgehammers and hounds, which are very slow units and low DPS units, pushing into a leveled tower, which is going to take ages to take out. So that's kind of the counterplay that he has. Now, we do an okay job here at, you know, blocking most of the units. My small turret at least manages to kill the Mustang. I don't think we'll end up winning this because I'm up against level 2 Void Eyes. And again, no DPS is still alive. I'm also going to get debuffed. So round 2 will be in favor of Shade Off as well. But at least we started with a good amount of hit points. And it looks like we're starting to do a good job here of defending. Round number 3, bunch of interesting cards. Underground Threat, always worth considering, especially if you think that you're vulnerable to it. Intensive Training, though, looked good to me. And I kind of wanted to try and start building high-level Fire Badgers. Because high-level Fire Badgers can be really scary to deal with. And currently, my opponent didn't have any units on the board that could go for a quick armor enhancement. Laser Sight, of course, you can pick up 2 and just throw onto the Phoenix, and then eventually it might make its way onto the Overlord, because that still is the long-term plan. But for now, I'm just going to buy another Fire Badger, level both of these, and go for a third Fire Badger in the top right corner of the screen. That's going to be pulling this Mustang, and if he adds more chaff behind the tower, that will also get pulled, so it kind of just makes it easier to engage with the front part of his army and remove any like late chaff that might arrive. Now he goes for the laser sight, throws it onto a new level 2 tarantula, goes for a crawler in the back to defend against that underground threat, and levels the Void Eyes. Void Eyes are getting very, very scary here. Level 3 already. Yeah, that could be problematic, but we are getting the levels on the Fire Badgers. I do have Scorching Fire on the bar. I do have range enhancement as well. And I was kind of experimenting here, putting back Scorching Charge and Field Maintenance as well, because they did get some buffs. And, well, we might see that down the line. Fire Badgers on the top right managed to spawn in and even kill the Mustangs. So happy with that. We should get a tower debuff at some point. Phoenix picked up a level, but does end up going down. So it looks like another round will be going over to Shade Off here. We are going to get the tower, but again, debuff, and there's no way that we're getting through level 3 Void Eyes and level 2 Tarantula. So another round here where we take damage. Not the end of the world. Again, you know, we had to start stabilizing. Feels like we are doing a good job at that. And now, round number 4, additional deployment slot shows up. It is a good card, but because I knew I wanted to go into Overlord, I probably would not have the money to get a lot of deployments anyway, right? It's an expensive giant, 500 a piece. So I felt like I wasn't going to make use of additional deployment slots for the next, you know, 2-3 turns. And at that point, I'm better off picking something else. So I go for Electromagnetic Impact instead, which is a pretty cheap spell with a low cooldown, and it should gain in value as the game progresses. Missile Strike also pickable, but I didn't really have any good targets to aim for, and I feel like EMP just is way, way better as the game goes on. Now, round number 4, I want to try and get a tower debuff here, so I go for a Steel Ball on the line. Notice that I don't go for an Overlord immediately, but I kind of wanted to wait for round number 5 to see if we would get a unit reinforcement, and also just to allow me to get more money, right? I have 800 here. There's other things that I need to get. I still do need some deployments. So as you can see, I go for another Fang. I go for a Steel Ball. I go for Scorching Fire as well. On the Fire Badgers, it is often going to be my first clicked tech in these scenarios, especially when it's shorter range, because I feel like the Fire Badgers can easily get stuck on bigger targets, and Scorching Fire helps them a lot. Left side, you can see nothing was done to preempt this type of a play, and so we will connect with the tower and get a 7-second debuff, and that's going to help us tremendously, as now I've got Scorching Fire Badgers taking down the enemy forces. Also, I picked up a level on our Phoenixes, which is helping out a ton, well, doubling the DPS, so obviously making it a lot easier to get through the bigger targets. Anti-armor cannon still working, and helping out against a Rhino that was purchased to counter that Badger. I'm quite happy with that, because it's a sizable investment to deal with a unit that cost less to me to put over there. So, great round. We strike back, and now I should be able to start getting into those rounds where I'm actually able to get things like the Overlords. And yep, there we go. You know, good things come to those who wait, and that is the case in Mechabellum. I purposefully waited on round 4 to see if there could be a unit reinforcement on round 5. There is, and we get royally rewarded as Overlord is available. So I insta-pick it, of course, because it was my plan from the get-go. And I add another one to the field. Some crawlers as well. Keep in mind I am building more chaff as we go on. Anytime I have some deployment, some cash left, I do make sure to kind of slowly build the chaff. We don't have a ton, but, you know, we have 5 packs right now. And, of course, we do have the hounds as well that kind of function as chaff as well at this point. But you do need to keep your chaff up, because otherwise it's going to be way too easy for the opponent to lock onto your important units. Now, Shadoff goes for Arc Lights, the level 3 Arc Lights, and immediately clicks on Armor Enhancement. And this is what I mentioned earlier. Badgers are really, really vulnerable to armor, right? They've got super low attack. You can see it here, 104 at level 2 with Scorching Fire is just, you know, awful. Almost entirely gets blocked by level 1 armor. I mean, not quite, but a good chunk of it. And at level 3... everything gets blocked. So you do need to pair your Fire Badgers with very good DPS, and I think Overlord is a great candidate for that. A Hacker is another that can be useful, kind of taking over units if they happen to have armor is useful, but obviously Hackers can't shoot up, and so Overlord is just a generally better scaling option. You can see the boats here are doing quite well. I went for Overload immediately because, well, thanks to the unit drop, I didn't have to unlock this myself, and I had some cash left, so we are a bit ahead of the curve here. Looks like we will end up losing as the marksmen take over, but it's only 200 damage, which I'm happy to take. Round number 6, and now a card shows up where I'm kind of thinking, is that worth picking? Fortified Overlord. A card that's perhaps being slept on a little bit. I do go for it. This card gets outshined by Improved Overlord, which is a busted card. But Fortified Overlord, honestly, deserves some credit as well as a pretty ridiculous card. You get 75% bonus HP and you only lose 25% attack. Keep in mind, Overlord really doesn't need all of its attack value. You can play them on cost control just fine. They will pretty much kill anything, especially when you're up against smaller targets, medium-sized targets like this. And so I just level up my 2 boats, upping their damage, and at that point, you know, the reduction of 25% really doesn't matter. And look at the Overlords. They've got 77,000 hit points. That's Abyss level, which is gonna be tough to deal with, you know? I've got basically 2 Abysses now on the board, and my opponent only has really Marksman and low-level Mustang, which is gonna take a while to get through. Note as well that I am starting to level one of the Badgers a lot. It is level 5 as we have double intensive, and it picked up a level by itself too. So suddenly there's a level 5 Fire Badger. We have enough money to go for range enhancement on the Fire Badger as well. And yeah, it's starting to get to the point where it can damage a level 3 Armored Arc Light, which is when you know that the Fire Badger is getting out of control. Now, sadly, my boats do get locked on immediately, but hey, that's not the biggest problem, because the marksmen are getting stuck on them for quite a while, if we're being honest. He did go for AA, but you can just see how long it takes for this boat to die. In fact, it survived. It managed to kill the marksman that was shooting at it, and now we're just barreling through the right side, getting a tower debuff, and cleaning up the rest of the field. That's a lot of damage going through. And I'm not really at the point yet where I've, you know, gone through all of my scaling options. I still want to click range on my boat, and I wanted to do it this turn, if I'm being honest, but some really good items showed up. And I picked up the portable shield because it just doubles the hit points of any unit you put it on, and well, I have fortified overlords, so that is a lot of stats that we're gaining. Mustang production is fine as well, laser sight maybe, but I think it is between these 2 items. I don't think Mustang was required here. It's a pretty low range fight. It's, you know, it happens quickly, so I wouldn't get that much value out of the spawning in my opinion. And I mean, look at this. It's basically a level 4 fortified overlord with 150,000 hit points. That's gonna take a while to kill. We go for another overlord here on the right. I am picking levels on my Fire Badgers where possible. EMP is back off cooldown, so that's nice. Just kind of trying to aim it here at where I expect 2 bubbles to show up, because I thought he would bubble here and bubble there, which looks like will happen. Although I might not hit that bubble, he did place it nicely backwards. And also will hit the arc lights, although they haven't been a problem so far. Honestly, they've kind of just been feeding a whole lot of experience to my Fire Badgers, if we're being honest. This Phoenix I could sell. I don't know what I've been selling. I think it's been the buildings, probably, and the Fire Badger that was in the top right, because it was pulling away some chaff, which was annoying. I kind of wanted everything to run into my Fire Badgers at the start, and not have to deal with late chaff arriving. And yeah, buildings have been sold as well at this point. Phoenix is kind of next up on the chopping block, as I am replacing it with an Overlord, and there's no need in keeping both. This will feed a ton of experience because it's level 3, so just better to get rid of it. Now, my Overlords do get locked on immediately again because I didn't get range, but, you know, that's alright. I mean, the one in the middle is just so crazily tanky that I don't think my opponent is going to be able to make do with just the marksman. He will likely have to buy a melter if he wants a chance at killing this. And in the meantime, my Fire Badgers are getting pretty tanky too. Level 5 already, level 6 available. I can make this level 8 next round because double intensive will be back off cooldown. And yeah, I mean, this game is something else. Just very high level, very, very tanky units being played. Looks like we will be able to win. We kill the final marksman. And now all that needs to be done is kill that remaining tarantula, which is going to try and kill my Fire Badger and actually succeed. But the boat lives. The boat gets a level 2, probably worth picking up just because of that portable shield. Round number 8, electromagnetic impact shows up. A little bit scary, as I may have to just pick up photon coating. Super heavy armor, though, caught my eye. And at this point, I thought, well, I mean, we just kind of have to do it, right? I mean, it is a good play, but it's also a bit memey. Level 8 Fire Badger with a super heavy armor. Yeah, don't mind if I do. We triple tech as well as we go for field maintenance on the Badgers, which gives them even more hit points. And I go photon coating on my Overlord. So again, I delay the range that I wanted. But, you know, the game just keeps giving me things that I need to pay for. I wanted to play around the EMP because I didn't want to lose my launcher overload. And honestly, photon coating is just good to add even more tankiness to the field. And well, it didn't seem like I was in any trouble, really. Like, we've been doing well for the past couple rounds. So I was willing to just stall even more, and eventually I'll get range. Probably next round. But yeah, that is a level 8 Fire Badger with 110,000 hit points per Badger, healing for 4.5% of its max HP per second. It is incredibly tanky. And, well, it's no surprise, really, that Shadoff here decides to finally invest in Melting Point. I knew that that was going to be expensive because he's Elite Spec, right? And this is one of the problems that Elite Spec can face. It's if you really, really need to buy a giant, it can be tricky, especially early on. It does manage to get the money now, though, and it instantly locks onto my Overlord because, again, it has no range. You know, same story as before, but the other ones seem to be safe, or I say the other ones. It's really just this one level 3 fortified Overlord, effectively level 6, just kind of, yeah, barreling through with over 200,000 hit points. And look at these Fire Badgers, by the way. They're just tanking a level 2 melter for an obscene amount of time. In the meantime, this boat on the right is also crushing, getting another level. This Fire Badger just kills the melter. And now it starts healing back up, as there's not enough DPS between a level 2 Tarantula and a level 3 Marksman to kill that Badger. It managed to level on its own accord. It's pretty hard to level units instantly from 8 to 9. The barrier is pretty high, you know? You need to get almost 9,000 experience, but it got there. And around number 9, we get unit reinforcements again. Now, I was thinking about picking up the Wasp here. I do have Mothership at some point, could be useful. But I also knew that I just needed a lot of money. So instead I go for the Steel Ball pickup here. Try and go for the same play I did earlier, because it still felt like this was pretty open. The other steel ball is going to be sold, and now I've got a lot of money to spend, right? Fire Badger need levels. Range on the Overlord has been picked up, but that's an expensive tech to go for. And I'd like to get, I guess, the level here as well on this Overlord, just to get more stats. Loan, of course, picked up at this point. Temp range, temp speed are important. And I put a crawler here because I wanted to pull away as many of his units as possible, kind of make sure they go towards the center and ignore this steel ball. I also go for a Fire Badger in the top left, which was meant to pull some chaff if it was there. There are some crawlers here, and yeah, a missile as well to try and help out in case something was being added. Looks like Shadoff does respect it though, lots of missiles coming out, so yeah, I will lose this Fire Badger. The steel ball will get slowed. Diffraction has been picked up, so the multi-melters are here. We'll have to see how this plays out. Boats this time around, though, should be able to survive quite easily. The melters also have less range because of the multi-melter, so we should be fine. Of course, multi-melter is a bit better at dealing with mid-sized units, but their damage is reduced, so my level 9 Badgers may be able to tank them for quite a while. I mean, even here you can see level 4 Fire Badger is still doing a pretty good job at tanking that melter. The boats come through. Sadly, the steel balls don't manage to get the debuff as I hoped. And that means that we won't quite be able to win, leaving Shadoff on 200 hit points as we enter round number 10. Our EMP is back off cooldown. Photon emission, though, gets offered. Heavy armor available as well. Nice item for us. I mean, we were working on a second high-level Badger, so, you know, why not pick up that item? I think Shadoff here should pick up the Photon emission. He could pick up the heavy armor too, but Photon emission just kind of gives him the same tankiness, and it prevents him from having to buy a whole bunch of shields. But okay, goes for the heavy armor. Long-term play can make a level 3 armored melting point, which is going to be hard to deal with. And at this point, I guess he kind of just has to go for energy absorption, because that is kind of the counter, right, to my board. It's very tanky, but if he manages to lock on, there's also a lot of hit points to heal off of. And yeah, there we are, triple tech melter with absorption. I do create another level 6 Fire Badger with heavy armor, and I pick up the second defense enhancement, kind of for the memes at this point. Subterranean Blitz on the crawlers would be good. I do go for it. Opponent doesn't really have the best chaff clear, right? No HE on the tarantulas as of yet, and Mustangs aren't good at dealing with crawlers, especially when they're leveled. And I've got, you know, defense enhancement, subterranean blitz, just all of the tanky techs. It's also why I level the crawlers here, just because it synergizes so well with the hit points and the tech. And here we go, round number 10. This time around, higher level melter with absorption as well, and I've got a sneaky feeling that that might be problematic if it ever locks on to, well, either the Fire Badger or this Giga Overlord here, which almost has 400,000 hit points. Right side, we are doing well, but oh, the healing is just kind of out of control at this point. Look at that. The Badgers indeed did get locked onto, and this melting point just does not want to go down. Luckily for me, the big Overlord manages to clear up, but the right side also ends up losing, and I feel like this is just gonna come down to my big Overlord. Is it gonna be able to clear the field here? Let's see. It does turn. It does have a range advantage, thankfully, so it's able to lock onto the melter a bit earlier. This still has to ramp up. It will die before it's able to heal, and the marksman is not gonna be enough. So tricky final round there, but we do get things done as the level 4 fortified Overlord clutches. Scary, scary final round there. I think Shadoff wasn't too far off of turning that. Probably just needed to get into the melters a bit earlier, I guess. But man, it is very hard to deal with both high-level Fire Badgers and high-level fortified Overlords. There's not really any unit aside from Melter that could deal with that. So I think I wouldn't have done anything different except maybe pick up the Melter a bit earlier. Yeah, I mean, what a crazy game it was. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about it. Have you ever seen something like this? and played 2 of these extremely tanky units together, what do you think of Fortified Overlord? I actually think it's a very good card, and honestly, you might just want to pick it up in virtually all cases. Anyway, let me know. If you want to stay up to date with my latest content, please consider subscribing, and if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.